Scotch, Scotch, Scotch. I love Scotch. Down in my belly. Well, joining me now from Glenfiddish Distillery, fifth generation family-owned Speyside Distillery is Allan Roth. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Really excited. You brought in my favorite thing.
Breakfast whiskey is pretty much the best thing in the world.
Well, not only that, but single malt. Glenfiddish is one of the best, too. You guys have been family-owned and just doing a great job with your product.
Yeah, so, single malt is really inherently a small batch craft process, and so over the years, the family has stayed very true to the same process over time, so we're making the same great whiskey we were in 1887.
Wow, that's amazing. You were telling me before we went on that Glenfiddish was the one that actually kind of pushed the single malt industry.
Yeah, so in 1963, we established the category with what we were calling at the time pure malt. It was 8 years old, and was really the first time that we put single malt on that pedestal and celebrated what a unique liquid we were creating at the Glenfiddish Distillery, and it's launched quite a few ships since then.
Wow. The neat thing about Scotch that people, some of the enthusiasts know that it's just very distinct on where it is coming from, the water source, the malts. That's what makes Scotch so unique and different between every different distillery. Where is Glenfiddish located, and what makes that unique?
Great. So Glenfiddish is located in the northeast of Scotland, a small region called Speyside that is actually home to the majority of single malt distilleries. And we create a new make, a liquid right off the still. That is a little grassy, some nice notes of pear, just really fresh, and it creates a 12-year, which is our flagship expression that I like to say, much like myself, is bright and approachable. And then what we have in front of us here is the Glenfiddish 14, the Bourbon Barrel Reserve,
Yes.
where we really build on that core. And so here, because we finish the whiskey for 3 or 4 months in a charred new oak barrel, we get some nice big kind of push of vanilla on the front of the palate, and then it moves into some of those more mature apple notes and pear notes as it goes on. And so, we take that freshness, that brightness, and then, go from there and build on that.
I think that with all the fruit, this is going to be a breakfast item for me.
It can be always enjoyed responsibly.
Of course.
Yeah, and the full range really goes on from there, 12, 14, 15, and on.
And another really neat thing about your product and your distillery is it's family owned. So as we see in a lot of the beverage communities that they're kind of getting bigger, getting bought up by conglomerates, you have been owned in a single family for 5 generations.
That's right, and it's really given us not only a great sense of identity, but a great freedom to explore and to innovate. And so the 14-year is a great example of that, taking this liquid and finishing it in another type of cask that really isn't all that common for cask finishing in Scotland. If you move on to our 21 with the rum finish, really just finding that right balance is something that the family has given us a great amount of freedom to do.
I always say my favorite type of Scotch is Scotch that can drink Scotch. And so 21 years is definitely a must-have. People that have never tried Scotch, how can they sample some of your products?
Great. So, the best thing to do, I would say, is to go to glenfiddish.com, look at the range, and see which flavor profiles are going to match the things that they like. And that'll really help them get guided to it. So if you normally drink something like Grant's or a blended whiskey, I would say start with our 12-year. If you're normally a bourbon drinker, move to the 14-year. If you tend to like kind of richer, bolder wines, I would say start with maybe our 15 or 18. And of course, if you're a rum drinker, I would point you to the 21.
I love it. Allan, thank you so much for joining us. Sadly, we've run out of time. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the grand tasting on Saturday night where you can try out some of the Glenfiddish products. Go see it up in Beaver Creek. We'll be back more after this.